And the new Russian activity in Belarus has alarmed not only Ukraine, but the world as well. Our defense forces are urgently strengthening protection on the Russian-Belarusian border due to the aggressor conducting exercises there. President Volodymyr Zelensky instructed to strengthen air defense, protective fortifications, and also to develop logistics routes and evacuation paths for the wounded. The head of state met with the leadership of Chernihiv and Kiev regions in Slavutik. Zelensky emphasized the government will provide funding and help with everything necessary. He once again reminded that Moscow is trying to further draw Belarus into the war against Ukraine. At the same time, it may launch an offensive from its Bryansk region.
We have the capability to strengthen our defenses, and we also have the ability to act preventively regarding Russian territories. There could also be a threat from there to the actual leadership of Belarus, which must stay alert. In other words, they need to truly feel that there will be consequences if there are aggressive actions against Ukraine, against our people. We remember that in 2022, the offensive also came from the territory of Belarus. We will not forget this. The Ukrainian National Defense Forces, security forces, and our intelligence fully know what threats exist and exactly how to respond to them. To respond justly, without a doubt.
The Security Service of Ukraine, together with other defense units, is implementing enhanced security measures in the northern regions, deploying unprecedented forces and resources in the territories bordering Russia and Belarus to counter the enemy and its allies should they dare to launch another aggression against Ukraine. First and foremost, this concerns the Chernihiv, Kyiv, Zhytomyr, Volyn, and Rivne regions, where counter-sabotage and counter-intelligence measures are underway. Security services, together with the defense forces, are prepared to counter the enemy in the event of their infiltration into border areas and will respond to acts of sabotage, terrorism, and intelligence operations. The work will be coordinated by the Anti-Terrorist Center under the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU. Residents of these areas are asked to carry identification documents and comply with the curfew regulations.
Law enforcement officers will carry out more thorough and enhanced inspections of citizens present in the areas where security measures are being implemented, as well as carefully examine various territories and certain premises to identify and locate prohibited items. These preventive measures are being carried out in full accordance with the legal regime of martial law. During these operations, there may be restrictions on pedestrian and vehicle movement through certain streets in specific settlements, document checks of citizens, and vehicle inspections.
Alexander Lukashenko insists that Belarus supposedly does not plan to get involved in the war against Ukraine. However, he immediately threatened a joint response with Russia in the event of aggression. Of course, he did not specify what exactly Minsk considers to be aggression. Lukashenko stated that Minsk, together with Moscow, is ready to defend their common homeland from Brest to Vladivostok. He also assures that there is currently neither a civilian nor a military need to fight with Ukraine, and that his country supposedly does not intend to attack anyone. Moreover, the Belarusian dictator suddenly started talking about a meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky. He says he is ready to meet at any location in Ukraine or Belarus if the Ukrainian leader wants to discuss something, seek advice, or talk about the problems and prospects of Belarusian-Ukrainian relations. Meanwhile, in that same Belarus, Russia has deployed its entire nuclear triad as part of large-scale nuclear exercises, intercontinental ballistic missiles, strategic nuclear submarines, and bombers. The Kremlin stated that this is a signal to NATO and Europe and an element of strategic deterrence. During the exercises, the military will practice coordination and the use of tactical nuclear weapons, including those that Russia has stationed on the territory of Belarus. The day before, Moscow and Minsk held joint drills. The dictators Putin and Lukashenko observed them via video link. Putin stated that although the use of nuclear weapons is an extreme measure, Russia and Belarus must be prepared to use them in the event of new threats. In total, according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, more than 64,000 troops are participating in the maneuvers, along with nearly 8,000 pieces of equipment, over 200 missile launchers, dozens of aircraft and ships, as well as 8 strategic nuclear submarines.
The aggressor country Russia, as part of the exercises, delivered nuclear warheads to field storage sites on the territory of Belarus. This was stated by the Ministry of Defense of the Republic of Belarus, which also published the corresponding video. The footage shows vehicles entering a forested area, as well as the loading of missiles onto launchers. According to the Russian propaganda agency RIA Novosti, Iskander-M systems with special warheads were deployed in Belarus during nuclear force exercises. As is known, on May 18th, exercises on the combat use of nuclear weapons began in Belarus with the participation of Russian military personnel. According to a statement from the Belarusian Defense Ministry, the purpose of the exercises is to train personnel, check the readiness of military equipment, and practice the use of weapons from unplanned locations. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine stated that the deployment of tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus and the joint nuclear exercises of the two dictatorships are an unprecedented challenge to global security. The ministry emphasized,
By turning Belarus into its nuclear foothold on NATO's borders, the Kremlin is de facto legitimizing the proliferation of nuclear weapons worldwide and creating a dangerous precedent for other authoritarian regimes.
the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine called on its Western partners and the entire world to respond firmly to the actions of Moscow and Minsk by increasing sanctions pressure. Earlier, President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Russia is trying to draw Belarus even further into the war against Ukraine. According to him, Ukrainian intelligence has recorded new attempts by the Russians to persuade the self-proclaimed president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, to join new aggressive operations. In particular, it has become known about plans for operations in directions to the south and north of Belarusian territory, either against the Chernihiv-Kiev direction in Ukraine or against one of the NATO countries. President Zelensky warned that Ukraine will defend itself if Alexander Lukashenko makes a grave mistake and decides to support this Russian intention.